I'm just going to talk about the last, our fourth module of this novel reading for pastors course. We read Brothers Karamazov part one. Then we read Death Comes for the Archbishop by Willa Cather. And then we read Hannah Coulter by Wendell Berry. And now we're at double choice kind of experience. You have a little bit more time. And so you are given the choice of one last novel. So you could read Gilead by Marilynne Robinson, won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, really admired by kind of serious pastors and by serious literature people. It's a little bit challenging. It's one of those kind of literature ones that's not a quick read. Covers some history, has some kind of dark elements, but that's really worth reading if you want to go for that. She writes great essays as well. Her housekeeping has also won awards. Yeah, that book, and then she has others in this Gilead series as well. So Marilynne Robinson, a fantastic choice. You could also read The Warden by Anthony Trollope. This is an older book from the 19th century. And so even though I think it's funny and it's great and it's rollicking and I totally enjoy it. And I like the Barchester series. I like Anthony Trollope. I think it's great to see kind of the British clergy squabbling, but also some beauty and goodness and romance there as well. By the way, there's some romance in the Gilead book too. So anyway, I think that's a great one as well. Have posted for you Stanley Hauerwas's essay saying that Karl Barth should have read Anthony Trollope. He should have known more about relationships, that kind of thing. This Swiss theologian that Stanley Hauerwas also likes. So anyway, that's another option. I was going to have everybody read that one because I thought it'd be a nice kind of change of pace after uh, Death Comes for the Archbishop and after Brothers Karamazov. Brothers Karamazov has a lot of humor too. And there's some humor also in Wendell Berry's Hannah Coulter book too. So it wasn't necessary. But I like the Barchester series of novels, including The Warden being the first one. Again, there's some things with any book sometimes or you may have to look up some of the clergy kind of technical vocabulary if that's not your tradition. So in Brothers Karamazov, the elder and the Eastern Orthodox kind of stuff, and then in the Roman Catholic, New Mexico kind of history, there's a little bit of stuff we just don't know. The Kansas-Nebraska Act and some of those things that are happening in the background of Gilead. Um, so anyway, there are some things that you may have to look up. That's just sort of the way it is when you're being transported to a new context. You don't know all the clergy stuff, even if you're strong in that area. Okay, and then the last option I give you is Jan Karen's At Home in Mitford. It's like super long. It's like really thick, and yet I think they breeze by. They're kind of like cotton candy, beach novel kind of things, those Mitford books. But I found those really good. They're the ones that are not high literature. They're not esteemed as kind of novels that are award winning, that kind of thing. But I found them good, and I've read a lot of reviews of the series and that kind of stuff, and other people agree with me too. Maybe it's just the people who are attracted to those, but there's some darkness and there's some wholesome stuff and there's some good writing. So I'm giving you that option. Well, that's kind of as well. That's kind of the lightest option of this course, even though it's a really actually kind of long book. Um, there's a dog in that one, but there's a dog in Brothers Karamazov as well. There's romance in that one, like there is in Gilead, like there is in the Warden too. So that's one of the things. I mean, I think that's one thing I didn't quite expect in this novel reading for pastors course to be like, hey, you know what? Romance among pastors kind of comes up. Whether they're single, their friendships. Uh, you know, that tends to come up. So anyway, that's just a good reminder, and we see that depicted in these novels. Um, okay, so that's the final choice is that you could finish Brothers Karamazov. I had you for module one, just read uh, part one. But if you got excited, got rolling, maybe you got a long ways in as well, and you want to finish the whole thing, I'm glad for you to use your time for that fourth novel to finish Brothers Karamazov because it's great. It's a classic, and this is a good time to read it. So I didn't make everybody read Brothers Karamazov all 40 hours. I didn't feel like that was fair to people who were not liking it, and it just kind of tough sledding. It wouldn't give us kind of a variety of novels for a novel reading for pastors course. So I didn't assign all of Brothers Karamazov, and I still think it's good. You still get a taste for what it's about in that first part. But if you want to finish, it's great. Go for it. And in the end, you'll have only done three novels. You'll have done Brothers Karamazov and uh, Death Comes for the Archbishop and Hannah Coulter, but that's fine instead of four because that's a really big one. All right. The other thing that you're doing here in this last module is I've given you another choice. And basically, you're reading from an English professor who taught at or teaches at a Christian school, who's kind of writing from a Christian perspective. So, Alan Jacobs has a couple books on the theology of reading, the pleasures of reading. You have Karen Swallow Prior also has a couple books booked, and then let's see here. I'll look up her other one. It's called On Reading Well. And then you have two by Jessica Hooten Wilson as well, The Scandal of Holiness or Reading for the Love of God. So uh, I haven't narrowed that down for you. Um, I don't know how you'll narrow it down. We have ebooks at the Bethel Library for a number of them. So we have the ebook at Bethel Library for A Theology of Reading by Alan Jacobs, Pleasures of Reading by Alan Jacobs, and Karen Swallow Prior's On Reading Well. So that might be one of the ones you choose so you don't have to kind of go and buy one. I looked up for you, there's a few of those on Reading Well, Scandal of Holiness and Reading for the Love of God. There are audiobooks if that helps you. So maybe that'll help you choose. As I was saying, you're going to pick one of these books by Alan Jacobs or Karen Swallow Prior or Jessica Hooten Wilson because they're English professors and we want to learn from experts who know literature a bit. And we want to think through the moral issues related to the theological issues, the philosophical issues around reading. So, uh, you know, how much time should you spend reading? How important is that as compared to other spiritual disciplines, practices, good habits, or solitude, or being with people, or watching movies, or watching TikTok? How should we think about the medium? How should we think about content? Like, hey, this is wholesome stuff. That's all you should take in. But what about the Book of Judges? That's not all wholesome. So, you know, should we also be accustomed to the sin of this world, that kind of thing? And is that okay to have some of that in rated R movies and in books with kind of adult content? And so that's some of the stuff that's hard to figure out is uh, what to read. And so I often read things that have been recommended to me by people I respect. And but yeah, people recognize this accurately portrays the world, people, those sort of things. So anyway, it'll be helpful to have you interact with people who have thought about some of those sort of issues. And then also, I will have you think also about what it means to read with others or read by yourself. So that's a whole thing. So, for example, I feel like when you organize a movie watching group in your church as the pastor, and then you pick something rated R, you can kind of get in trouble when people are like, wait, why are we watching this? Who decided to do that? And similarly with book clubs, where there's some kind of content that people don't think is great or they don't like the book in the end. So it's a little thing you want to tread carefully on as a pastor is is actually having a book club and you picking the books and that kind of thing. I mean, you could do the ones I chose, which I think are pretty safe. I kind of chose some wholesome ones, but in general, that's going to be something that you're going to want to kind of delegate to others and say, hey, a group can kind of do this informally, vote and pick books and meet in a home and if people don't want to read that one, they just skip it, that movie or that book, that kind of thing. So I just want you to tread carefully. I think sometimes what happens when you take a course like this is you're super excited and you organize book clubs and you sort of think, well, this will be really good for evangelism and formation, that kind of stuff. And that could be the right thing. I just want you to tread carefully. And I think sometimes, you have to just kind of read what's enjoyable for you, what you need, and then maybe there are some others who will come alongside you. But I think you probably shouldn't get the idea that this is always going to be a corporate thing that you're going to organize with others. Anyway, yeah, that's something you're going to write about after reading Karen Swallow Prior, Jessica Hooten Wilson, or Alan Jacobs, or diving a little bit into all those. That'd be great too. So again, this last 3 weeks or so, you're going to be reading that final novel, the Gilead, Warden, Mitford, or Karamazov, and then you're going to read Jacobs, Swallow Prior, Hooten Wilson. All right, so that'll be again, and we're kind of just enjoying reading. We're experiencing doing the practice of novel reading, and then we're doing this other thing also of kind of reflecting on what this means for us going forward in the future. What's that going to mean for my reading life as a pastor, and how can I encourage and facilitate reading and help guide people on reading as a pastor? So that's what we're going for in this last module. Enjoy the readings.